Welcome, everybody, to the Dill Pickleball podcast / Clubhouse event. We are going to be talking about episode 2 today, and the title is called Protect Your Pickleballs, with the focus being today on whether or not we should actually try to hit an opponent. So let's start off, Vinnie, me and you. Quick question. Yeah. On the count of 3, yep. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and then answer, because I know sometimes it gets confusing on do you go on 3 or do you go after 3? After 3, do you think it's okay to try and hit someone? 1, 2, 3. Yes.
Qualifying question. Are you married to them?
Now you know my answer. It's not fair.
No, sorry. Okay, now I'm ready.
Okay.
Now.
1, 2, 3. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, you went after me. We're supposed to do it together. Our powers combined.
Yes. I did. I said yes at the same time. It was same time in my ears.
Oh, okay.
I think it's the interface.
Oh, the delay. I bet it is. You're right.
Yeah.
So, your qualifying question. Go ahead and ask that.
Oh, are you married to them? That's my qualifying question. Are you married to the person you're trying to hit with the pickleball? Because that may determine my answer.
Yes. Well, let's answer that one, and then we'll kind of move on to another qualifying question. So I would say, because my lovely wife Becky is here in the event room with us, I would not try to hit her on purpose at all.
Agreed. I would not try to hit your wife Becky on purpose if I were playing against her.
That's good. Yeah. Nor would I try to hit your wife either.
Maybe.
Oh, you would try to hit your wife?
Maybe.
Is that because she's not in the room?
My wife no, she just likes to trash talk. And so sometimes I feel like, I don't know. It's probably never appropriate. All right, I'm there with you. I've moved, I've changed, I flip-flopped. It is never appropriate to hit your spouse on the pickleball court with a pickleball.
That's for another conversation with other
sorry.
On the pickleball court. Yeah. Clean. We're keeping it clean.
That's right. Yeah, keeping it clean.
So, when is it okay to actually try and hit someone? Is it okay all the time? Is it okay some of the time? When is it okay to try and hit someone? The qualifying question.
I would say gauging the level of competition within the game, the quality of the player that you're playing against, the sportsmanship. We're not talking about ill intent, but or being there's not meanness attached to it. It's more of gamesmanship. So I would say those are some things that are taken into consideration. The skill level of play, sportsmanship, the level of familiarity. Like, I'm not sure I would ever hit a stranger or a person who had joined our game, that I wasn't, connected to.
Correct. I'd be close in there. I would feel like it'd be okay to try and hit someone for a few reasons. Number one, you're being a competitive, right? You're actually playing a competitive game or a match, and somebody serves it up for you, and you just want to be able to really attack and win that point, because a lot of people aren't good at returning those types of shots. So I think it's okay to do that when you're being competitive. Specifically, I would also say, if you want to try and teach someone a lesson, really kind of get under their skin, or disrupt their confidence, and trying to really help build their weariness of wanting you to be to play up in the line. I think that's really dominating and showing aggression there. But if you're playing for fun, if you're playing with people who aren't as good, I totally agree that trying to be kind, trying to help them feel like they're part of the game and learning the game. Right. Obviously, smashing balls at their feet or at their torso or anything like that is not necessarily the best option. So along those lines, where is the place that you should aim for when trying to hit someone?
Yeah, I think just strategically, I think the lower body is a place, because if you're aiming toward the feet, that becomes a difficult shot to return. So that's one place to, again, depending on court position and player posture. The other I think is paddle wrist or hand area, like kind of that, forcing that short alligator arm or T-Rex arm defense. That might be a difficult place.
Yep.
And then sometimes I like line drives, and if you can get this, so it's probably a backcourt shot, but if you can get the speed and the spin, and you can get a torso shot, I think that those are all good places. Probably strategically prioritizing the lower body shot.
Yep. Especially if they're
difficult.
Especially if they're at the non-volley line or the non-volley zone, the kitchen. I would definitely say the feet is probably the best option, and then I probably, depending on who I'm playing with, if it's against you, I enjoy a little bit higher in the torso because it's pretty entertaining to see how you try to move and get out of the way.
No, totally.
So
those are places. That's part of my game. Part of the thing I bring to the court.
Yes, which we talked about last week. How do you feel, or when do you think it is appropriate to stay at the kitchen line versus move back? Do you always think you should stay up? Do you always think you should move back? What do you think?
Yeah, so in my inexpert opinion, I like to be at the kitchen line, and so I want to get there as quick as possible, and I want to stay there. And learn pickleball defense, and just take it. So for me, I want to be at the kitchen line, as play and strategy dictate. But for me, the most part is I want to stay there, and not be afraid to get hit.
Yep.
I think for me, it'll developing the dink and dunk game, to help avoid that.
Yes, I would agree that that's something that I need to improve on as well, especially like third shot drops and whatnot, to try and be a little bit more conservative and learning the advanced portion of the game. I would say for me, it's if my opponent has an opportunity to smash one at my face or anywhere near my body, I'm moving backwards to try and be able to at least recover. I have a tennis background, so I always feel like the ball is going to come in faster than they do. So I tend to overreact and react too soon. But moving back has always been the thing that I've wanted to do. I see we have a couple of people here. I just wanted to see if anybody wanted to join our conversation with Vinnie and I. Just know that this is going to be recorded, and this is part of the Dill Pickleball podcast. So if you want to join, I can definitely have you guys do that. Perfect. Welcome, Phil.
Yeah, good guys. Great to meet you. I actually checked out your first episode, which was you. Vinnie, were you on that? Are you the same guy?
Same guy, yes, sir.
Because tonight you're acting real serious. You're one of the funniest guys between you and David. I mean, I'm serious. I woke up at 1:00 this morning, and I couldn't go back. And I found you guys. And David, I was planning on being here, and I wanted to get in before the recording because I know how that kind of goes. But I was laughing out loud. I mean, you guys are crazy.
Yeah.
Do you guys play in Colorado?
We've only played in Idaho thus far. That's where that's where we reside. So we make our way around the local parks here, right outside of Boise is where we're at.
Yep.
But would love to bring my game to Colorado when I travel there.
Well, I try to do a room on Tuesdays, or have the last few weeks. Okay. And tonight I asked the guys, Otto was there, Adam was there, and Otto's a pretty strong player. And then we had another guy, just met him tonight. He's on the pro level. But I asked him, I think this question you're going to have tonight is really a great one. And that is, should you hit your opponent?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'd like to get your opinion here, Phil and Adam. Do you think it's okay to try and hit your opponent?
I will just say this. It's part of the game. And now I will also say this, that in rec play, and I'm a rec player, okay, guys? And I don't have aspirations of becoming a tournament pro player. I have been hit even at the head. And here's the danger of hitting at the rec play level. Is control. And I've been reading recently about pickleball dangers of hitting someone in the eye, and they lose the eye. So if it's a real beginner player, I'm not gonna do that. And Otto, I asked Otto, because Otto said absolutely, but I'll let him speak for himself. But in a rec play situation, you probably don't want to do that per se, especially to a beginner player. But what I do is I try to master the placement hit, whether it be especially down the middle. It's my favorite shot. So guys, I think it's a great topic. I look forward to getting to know you guys. I think you're doing great. I love your first episode. This one's going to be a good one, and I'll definitely here to support you guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Phil. I appreciate that.
Thanks, Phil. Thanks, Phil. Appreciate you chiming in. And I think that's a great point, is that control, particularly if you're playing with players who are new, and that, pegging each other becomes a thing. There's obviously a real danger there to injury, which we always want to avoid. It's one of the fun things about pickleball is you can play it without risk of too tremendous, injury outside of self-inflicted. So David, you keep that in mind when we play.
Well, and hey guys, the fact of the matter is, I'd say 80% of the time I hit at a person, I'm actually trying to hit down the middle.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's a great, Yep.
I would say I agree with what Phil was saying there. Again, kind of what we talked about a little bit is, if you're playing for fun, playing, to enjoy yourselves, playing with beginners, trying to keep them involved and engaged and helping them improve their game and recognize that putting a ball up in the air for a lob to be able to smash is not necessarily wise. And again, 100% power at somebody shouldn't happen necessarily all that much because you lose control. But it's also good to help people perhaps learn a lesson as they continue to improve. I know Vinnie and I play a lot. And one of the things that Vinnie likes to do is when right after he serves, he has this tendency to take a step forward right into the court, and then I put him right back, put a ball right back to the line, and he basically gets all caught up in his feet, or tries to move back and does things, and so we call that creeper creeping, and we always sing a song when that happens, and it's been a tough lesson for him for sure to be able to learn that, but he's definitely there now.
I would say you've been a faithful instructor, and I've been a faithless pupil. And 6 months in, I continue to creep in excitement, enthusiasm, as I watch my serve, land in, and then watch your return land right at my toes, right in the line. Yep, it's the best.
I like it once in a while with a new player as a soft ball, a soft hit, because it's a really good way for them to understand that the ball can come from any direction, and how they hold their racket at the ready is crucial to take care of and defend their position wherever the ball comes from.
Yep. Absolutely.
Oh, that's a great thought, Adam. Yep.
It's super important. That's something that I've actually I've been trying to help my daughter with a little bit, in understanding mechanics of the game, preparation, especially up at the kitchen line. Keeping your paddle up so that when it goes left or right, you just move the paddle as opposed to having to raise it and then swing it one way or the other. So it's really, I find this game kind of like what we talked about last week with Vinnie and I on our podcast, is really trying to instruct and help people. At any point in your journey, you always have people who are below you, who are, trying to continue to improve, and you have that ability to help them with those small little factors, like being prepared and not necessarily crushing it at them, but also helping them be able to just understand what they're doing and understand the consequences of that shot that they just played.
It's the anticipation. Watching the ball is the most crucial thing in the world, but they often do a few things that I mentioned with Phil earlier. They have a real fear of their backhand. They don't put their body into the shot, and they have to learn how to do some of this if they're serious and they really would like to start learning how to play the game.
Absolutely. I mean, backhands are definitely a struggle for a lot of beginners. It's something that I always encourage beginners to work on. If you have a weak spot, you want to actually work on that. And I know Vinny's like he at the beginning of his game, he always would like, hit a lob, and of course, because we're competitive with each other and because we're friends and because I like seeing what happens when I hit a ball at him, he he like will duck or he'll pull his head down at the beginning, but now he's like Happy Gilmore, like I'm gonna take it like a man. So it's pretty interesting to watch that.
Yeah, it's just a pickleball.
Well, you guys, in your first episode, I thought something that was really a fantastic attitude was you guys talked about something that we've all felt and something I'm a big proponent of, and that is the promotion of the community and the fun and the friends. And so, David, what you were just saying about, these are things that we don't want somebody to have a negative experience.
Yep.
And if you just get into a game with a beginner and you just bang at them all the time, that's not a positive experience, nor I don't think in the spirit of the game.
Correct. Absolutely.
Yep, I would agree.
And that's where, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think if David and I had experienced that as we began playing, we were welcomed into a community of players that play regularly with one another the first few times we played. And had we experienced that, it would have been a turnoff. We wouldn't be playing. We wouldn't have continued to play and pursue the game. But because there was a sense of hospitality and congeniality and generosity among the players, we fell in love with the game and got an opportunity to learn it in a safe environment where we weren't afraid to get pegged at that time.
And I think that it depends on how competitive everybody else is as well. And that's just kind of the basis. And you can kind of judge that as you play with them throughout the game or throughout the match, right? If you're walking into a situation, it's one of those that you can kind of observe. We have a park nearby who has an association that kind of is big there. They probably have 15, 20 players that play every single day. And walking into that kind of situation, you kind of judge and see how competitive they are, who's competitive, who's not, and then you can kind of play a game based on that. And specifically, we're talking about protecting your pickleballs and smashing and hitting overheads at people. You play your game according to that. So if they're there to have fun, you have fun. If you're trying to be a little bit more competitive and want to kind of hamstring, or what we like to call T-Rex people, which is, you put your paddle in, you kind of little T-Rex, stubby little arms trying to hit the ball. That's also part of the game for some rounds, some matches that you're playing with that group.
Most places that the places that I've played, the most successful communities actually do divide up their areas or even their times into beginners and more, intermediate, let's say. And I think that is a good policy, so that where I play right now, it's clearly understood. As you walk in, there's 8 courts. And as you walk through the gate, the 4 courts to the left, look, if you're going to go play over there, number one, you better be ready. That's intermediate or above. And you can't be offended if they play aggressively. That's what you're going to get into. If you go right, it's a beginner's game. It's a more, and the expectation there is that we aren't going to hit at each other really aggressively. So I think that's a good thing to do in a community of players.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to that for sure. Trying to build that up with our community here in Idaho, in the Treasure Valley is what we call our little couple of counties. So I'm definitely excited for what you just mentioned, Phil, of having, you have good players playing maybe at a certain time, and then you have beginner players, and of course beginner players can play with advanced players. So if I wanted to play all day, I could go play at a beginner level, but I could also play at the intermediate to advanced level too. And so I'm looking forward to the day where we in this community have that kind of differentiation without hurt feelings or anything along those lines.
Yeah, actually, the best community I was a part of, where I learned the game, the ambassador set it up to where if you were a beginner, you were not invited or welcome at the 10 o'clock group. And, I kind of was a little bit offended at that at first, but then I thought he's right, because it disrupts the play a little bit. Now, what's cool is sometimes the more intermediate players would come up earlier and play with the beginners and help them.
Mm-hmm.
But I think and then when you are invited up, or when you show up and you're accepted, you feel accomplished, because you've worked on your game and you've earned that position.
Yeah, it's totally that double-edged sword for sure. Whether or not you allow better players to play with beginner players, because you want to help them improve, you want to get them to that point of improvement, but at the same time, you don't want to overwhelm everybody with the game. So it's definitely that fine line for sure.
And I got to say, it'd gotten to the point where we had, 5 or 6 courts, and probably 40 plus players showing up in each group.
Wow.
So there wasn't any reason for a beginner to come in, and
Yep.
you know what I'm saying?
Yep, absolutely.
It was a great time.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So next question for everybody who is participating here at the Pickleball Podcast, episode 2, is what strategies would you use to stop being an easy target for overhead smashes? What strategies would you use to stop being an easy target for those pickleball smashes?
First thing that
for me,
comes to my mind is trying to slow the ball play down.
Okay. Well, how would you?
What do you mean by
there?
that, Adam? Yeah. Can you talk more about that?
If you try it and if you're able to get a smash, not to hit it back with the same intensity that it came at you, but kind of protect your chest or lower chest area and let it bounce back, it gives you a few seconds to kind of recoup your position from the transition zone or to the NVA zone or to the baseline where you want to be. But if you slow down the play a little bit, it might give you a better feeling for what he'll do next, or will he dink it? It'll give you more opportunity, even if it's just a few seconds. It could mean the difference between getting the ball and missing it.
That's great wisdom. I think for me, it's court position. David, you and I have worked on this, is just being aware and thinking through several shots at a time, and where your feet need to be and where you're at in terms of the non-volley zone or mid-court or back-court, and recognizing even the paddle language of your opponent. If they're coming up for that big smash, it's time to back up, give yourself room, so off the bounce you can get that return.
Mm-hmm.
Vinny, you mentioned that earlier about holding your ground at the kitchen line or fading back. I think as a tennis player, I was not a tennis player, but I know you probably know this. You read your opponent, and if a smash is coming, I think you'll watch the pro level. They back up to give themselves a little more reaction time, especially at the speeds and the power that ball's coming at them at that point. So there is a thing to coming out, but I like in the kitchen zone the line as the power zone. You don't want to give it up. It's like a game of chess. You control that area, you can control the game. So to your question, David, I mean, bottom line, it's really my number one thing I want to work on in my game is keep my returns competitive, and that means keep them low. And in the last group, we talked about the power of doing the diagonal versus the vertical. Would it be the vertical? Going diagonal really lowers that chance it's going to be too high, and it's going to be slammed back at you.
Yep. I would totally agree with that. I try to definitely, when I'm playing at the kitchen line, I like to work on those angles, work on those shots. It's a more high risk shot than just hitting it over across to my opponent, assuming I'm playing doubles, right? We play that's what we play most of the time anyway, is doubles, because we have, a community of anywhere between 4 and 18, depends on who shows up. So we play a lot of doubles in that aspect of it. But I really want to work on, since I am one of the better players in our group, to work on those specific, more advanced shots, like the angles, like you were talking about, Phil. So I think that's going to be one of the strategies to really help prevent those lobs from happening. And then the other one is, if it actually does happen, if me or my partner toss one up and try and hit a lob over somebody's head and it doesn't quite make it for whatever reasons, which I like to blame the wind on, because I'm that good that I just always hit a good lob, and it's always Mother Nature that prevents me from doing that for sure. And then I try to move back as fast as possible.
It's great to be in a room of. It's really nice to be in a room of just oh gosh, forgot the word. Humble people.
David is the humblest.
We like to call that humble bragging.
Yeah.
No, so we talked about last week. I have one move, right? I got one move. That's because I'm I'm not the thinnest guy in the world or the most athletic. So my one move in terms of lobbing is backpedaling as fast as possible and hoping I don't fall on my keister.
Now, guys, that the number one move of injury in our sport is backpedaling.
Mm-hmm.
So they teach you to turn and run back and get it off the bounce, but just I backpedal as well.
Yep.
Former basketball player.
Yep.
You learn to backpedal, but it's not a safe move.
Correct. And I played tennis from the time I was in second grade up through a year of college, and I discovered how not good I was when I started college playing tennis. I'm like, man, I'm not good. But I definitely learned how to backpedal correctly and try and be prepared. And I usually overreact to pickleballs because there are pickleballs and not tennis balls flying at my face. So I usually try to hit the ball too fast, too hard, and am improving on that aspect of my game for sure. So, Vinny, you had another question you wanted to bring up tonight?
Oh yeah, this one I'm an expert at this, so I've got some advice to give, but also what to do with those pickleball welts. Just care and treatment if you've been pegged or find yourself on the victim of an over-aggressive friend and partner who's pelted you a few times. Any care treatment suggestions?
I appreciated how you threw in partner there, like your partner hit you.
Yeah, buddy.
For me, I think it hurts less if I can pelt them back. Right, David?
That's right. Yeah, it is. Go ahead.
No, Vinny, I was just going to say, and for me, after 3.5+ years of playing, I've never had a pickleball welt, because when you're playing with 60, 70-year-olds, I don't think you have to worry about that. So quit playing with the younger crowd, Vinny.
You're absolutely right. Well, like I shared last time, my experience with the older crowd has not been great either. Less welts, but way less.
Yeah, those ladies took it to you.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And I get my call from my mother-in-law all the time. They want to know when I'm coming back to visit, and I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure I'm going back. Or I might conveniently forget my pickleball paddle. So, yeah, David's tennis background pays off.
You talked about my dad with the last one, and he's coming in about a week, and he's bringing his pickleball gear, and he is prepared to play. And my mom has been practicing as well. She has been demoted on teams, which only, like you said, it pushes you to be more competitive.
Heck yeah.
So she has been working really hard to get promoted to the next team to compete with my dad again. So get ready, because they're going to want to play a rematch.
I love it. Yep. I can't wait. I cannot wait. I love it. I love playing with your dad. My favorite thing about playing with your dad is his Jimmy Johnson perfect hair. Like, we played, I think, an hour and a half, and not a single strand of his hair moved. I don't know if that's like a Lego helmet that he puts on and then takes off at night, or if it's just the product, but it was fantastic. Like, not a hair moved. And we laughed and had a great time.
Hairspray number 10. Yeah. It's funny you say Jimmy Johnson. He's been known to look like Harrison Ford.
Oh, yeah. I could totally see that. Totally see that in your dad. Yep. Yeah, he was a great fun to play with. And we were so new. You know, he was so kind and patient with us as we were learning, still learning the rules and game and helping. He coached us up a ton while he was here. We had a great experience in the spring.
If it makes you feel better, he's 64, not 62, as David quoted.
Okay, yeah, that does make me feel a bit better. Not at all.
Does that make me the oldest geezer here?
Yeah, Adam, actually, you're the oldest guy I've met on Clubhouse. But I'm not far behind you.
Damn.
All right, last question here as we wrap up real quick. Where was the strangest place you've been hit by a pickleball?
Hey, guys, I got to leave, but it's been great talking to you.
Thanks, Phil.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. Thanks for joining us.
I'm actually just kidding.
Yeah.
I didn't want to talk about
Lucky, I haven't been hit yet.
Oh, that's good.
Nicely done, Adam. Nicely done.
He's got the five stages of dodgeball mastered, right? Whatever those are.
That's right. Yeah.
Dodge, duck, dip.
I'd say
dive,
probably
dodge.
the hardest place. Yep. Those are them. I don't know about oddest place but for sure anywhere on the paddle hand.
Mm-hmm.
So particularly in the cold weather we've been playing, like finger, hand, wrist area, those are just screamers. Particularly in the cold weather.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'd agree. And actually, the hits that have hurt the most would be if it hit my fingers or something. But I have to be honest, I haven't been hit a lot, so that's good. And you know what? That's a credit to the people I played with, because there really is a respect in the game. But I mean, if you do get hit, it's usually a mistake, because we don't have control necessarily of our shots. But yeah, I'd say the hand has been the most painful area. It may not be odd, but yeah.
I found the most painful area is to be where my partner hits me, like the one I'm not expecting, right? The one like in the back of the leg, right below the butt cheek, right? Like what, dude? Like the court's that way, not this way.
Yes. Guilty.
It's called TMI.
I did say to Vinnie that unfortunately our rating has gone from rated G to rated PG with our current topic of protecting your pickleballs. So.
Yep.
Yeah, well, they are expensive, so you don't want to lose them or
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome.
All right. Any other final thoughts here about overhead slam? Go ahead, Vinnie.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I'm super appreciative to Phil and Adam and Becky for just jumping in and chiming in, and kind of in an open forum. It can be a little scary, but appreciate all the wisdom and insight you guys brought. Mm-hmm. Learned some stuff tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm a New Yorker. Not much scares me anymore.
Yeah.
This has been fun. I really appreciate it. Look forward to supporting you guys. And if you ever get to Phoenix, Arizona, we will definitely have to play.
Absolutely.
So you're in Sarasota?
We're in Idaho, David and I.
No, but Phil, did you say Sarasota?
No, Phoenix, Arizona.
Arizona.
Yeah. It's my Colorado slow draw I developed over the years I lived there.
We'll have to figure out how to have a virtual match.
There you go.
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you all hopping in and joining us. We had a great time. We look forward to posting this. We'll try not to do it back to back there, Phil, so that we can have time to hop on your event and then maybe join ours after that or something.
David, it's so great to see you tonight, and looking forward to talking to all of you in the future.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate you guys, and we'll chat soon.
Looking forward to it. Thank you.